David Mahon was a Liverpool bouncer who had a reputation for being angry, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. I mean that literally. David was said to have been a former boxer with a devastating jab. Now, David Mahon worked as a bouncer at Bar 25. His rival, also a bouncer, Richard Morey, worked at the lodge on Lark Lane. The two establishments were opposite each other, so they would often come into contact when they were working on their shifts. After a confrontation in which David was heard to have got into Richard's face and shout, "What did you say about me? You have made a CUN out of me," and constant bickering, David Mahon decided to confront Richard again. Now, CCTV showed David Mahon and another bouncer approach Richard Morey and his colleague Kyle Kennedy. David went right into boxer mode and set up a jab that propelled Kyle Kennedy back so far that his legs went, and he was immediately made unconscious. David had no previous problem with Kyle. When Kyle was finally able to open his eyes, he was staring up at the night sky, dazed and unable to see properly. Now, while Kyle was taken care of, David had pivoted on his heels and then struck his head against Richard Morey's. Richard was then taken to the ground with a jab. In sheer desperation, Richard, now on the ground, tried to grab David's legs, hold on as tight as he could, but in response, David Mahon then stomped, connecting with Richard's knee, and there was a loud popping sound. Despite Richard convincingly on the losing end of a one-sided scrap, David still tried to boot and jab Richard. Other bouncers had to intervene along with drinkers, and they held David back, but they were struggling to contain the madman. Eventually, David was walked back over the road into Bar 25, where he was on duty as a bouncer. Now, when arrested, David Mahon was quick to tell police that he had only went to confront Richard in a peaceful manner. David also says that there was animosity that needed to be cleared up, and David had also admitted that he was the first person to land blows. In court, Richard Morey explained that he was rushed to hospital, where he had to undergo 2 surgeries on the knee, and it's likely that he will need a knee replacement. In court, David's solicitor also says that David was remorseful and had actually gone through long spells without getting into trouble with police. David's solicitors also attempted to play the sympathy card by explaining that he helped look after his mum, who sadly had a stroke previously. However, they tried to shy away from the fact that David Mahon had a temper and was known to act with his hands rather than walk away. And in court, the madman bouncer was jailed for just 21 months. Does the crime match the sentence? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe.